Hi everybody. Well, it's Paul and I today, and we've decided to do some Netflix films while Mark's on vacation off in Nova Scotia. And we got Man vs. Bee. Have you seen it? Rowan Atkinson, right? Huh?
Holy smokes!
Huh?
I was gonna wait until he had to say the actor's name, and he did it.
Yeah, I did it.
Okay, I'm gonna start.
Okay.
If you're anything like me, and I hope you're not,
Yes, we all do.
you saw the Netflix thumbnail of the face, Rowan Atkinson's face, looking down at a bee on his nose or something like that. And I looked at that and I said, I didn't know it was Rowan Atkinson. It didn't look like the Mr. Bean face to me. I said, a show about a guy against a bee. That is so lame. I'm not going to invest any kind of time into that. As if.
Yeah. And then you saw who it was.
No. Then my wife says, I'm bored, let's do something. And she picked that. So.
See, in most households, when a wife goes, I'm bored, let's do something, it doesn't mean let's watch Netflix.
Well, it's Netflix without the chill.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's Netflix and eat. But it's Rowan Atkinson from, well known as Mr. Bean. And it's basically Mr. Bean show. It's 9 episodes, I believe.
Something like that, 9 or 10.
9 or 10 episodes. And it's basically little episodes of misadventures. It's Mr. Bean on Netflix, but they can't call it Mr. Bean because it's owned by the BBC. So if
You're assuming, or
well, I'm assuming that they could not call this Mr. Bean.
okay, but it wasn't really Mr. Bean.
But what I'm talking about is the humor and the comedy. It's almost directly Mr. Bean humor, so you would get an idea of what this series is about.
Yeah. So you have 10-minute episodes. And while Mr. Bean is each 10 minutes is a completely different adventure, this is a 10-minute episode of this guy. He comes to house sit a mansion while the owners are away on vacation. And you can tell right off the bat that this guy's a bit of a loser. And
Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean shows up at your house to house sit.
But he talks. He goes, hello, my name is Waba. He's not like a Mr. Bean character that doesn't talk. He just goes, arr, arr, arr. So he shows up, and then once the owners leave, he encounters a bee. And then each episode is him trying to deal with the bee in a certain kind of way.
Yeah. While other things happen around him. Like the police showing up, the alarm going off, and him not knowing how to operate anything in the house, and destroying the house in the meantime. But, the humor is so Mr. Bean. Like, when the police officer arrives at the door in one episode, and the bee goes up his leg. Instead of like a normal person saying, excuse me, officer, I have a bee up my leg, he's like shaking his leg around like, oh, I'm okay. No, nothing wrong. What? It's that over-the-top humor.
Now, in Mr. Bean, it was a little bit unpredictable how that character was going to react to certain situations. In this one, everything is so completely predictable.
Yes.
You know what the problem is. It's dramatic irony. The definition of dramatic irony is the audience knows what's happening, but the character doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what this show is. You see that thing in the wrong place and you know what's going to happen, and you're just waiting until the character finds out that that's going to happen.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of little twists in this where, he wants to be, I don't want to kill the bee, I just want to get it out of the house. And then there's a turning point where he doesn't care if he kills the bee, but then he feels really guilty that he thinks he kills it. And it just goes on and on and on until the end. But it starts off with him in court, and you're going to jail, you're found guilty, and he goes, I just want to say I'm really sorry. You see, there was this bee. And that's the lead into the whole series, where this bee causes all the trouble.
Now, my initial reaction was, I don't want to watch a show about a guy versus a bee. The episodes were 10 minutes long, and they fly by. And so right when you think that okay, well, this might get a little long. It ends. It's the perfect amount of time to get whatever comedy you want and then just move on.
Yeah.
But then I binged it. So it didn't matter if it was
Yeah.
all one episode or not.
Yeah, which is normally what happens on Netflix when they all release at the same time. But it was fun. You know, it's not Academy Award stuff,
No.
but it was fun.
But if you want to sit there and watch something with your family and
Yeah.
you don't want to invest an hour and a half, 2 hours in a movie, this is perfect.
Yeah, and if you like Mr. Bean humor, if you like the series Mr. Bean, you will probably like this show.
Yeah, sketch humor.
There you go. So there you go. Take a look. I think it's 9 episodes on Netflix. Man vs. Bee with Rowan Atkinson. Huh? Got it. And I even pronounced it right.